Mauro Prosperi, the man who survived 9 days in the desert. It all started with a casual conversation between two buddies. Mauro Prosperi was a 38-year-old Italian police officer and former Olympic pentathlete. He loved the challenge, but he had settled into a comfortable routine. Then, his running partner and close friend of 7 years, Giovanni Manzo, dropped a magazine on the table. Giovanni said, "Hey, look at this. It's called the Marathon des Sables, a 150-mile ultra-marathon through the Sahara Desert. Want to do it?" Tomorrow, it sounded like the ultimate adventure. A chance to see the vast, majestic dunes of Morocco and test his limits alongside his best friend. They shook hands. It was a deal. To prepare, Mauro went to extremes. He ran 40 kilometers a day, but he did something else that sounds completely insane. He intentionally began rationing his water during training, deliberately forcing his body to get used to the agonizing feeling of dehydration. His wife was terrified, begging him not to go, but Mauro just smiled. He had his gear, his training, and he had Giovanni by his side. They were ready for a tough race. What they weren't ready for was a catastrophic glitch in human biology. April 1994, day 4 of the marathon. Mauro and Giovanni are pacing beautifully, sitting in fourth place. Suddenly, the sky turns blood orange. A massive Sirocco sandstorm hits. In the chaos, the two friends are instantly ripped apart, blinded by the swirling needles of sand, his nose and mouth bleeding from inhaling the dust. Mauro makes a fateful decision. Keep running, so I don't get buried alive. For 8 hours, he runs blindly in the storm. When the wind finally dies down, Giovanni is gone, the trail is gone, and Mauro is 180 miles off course, standing alone in the middle of a suffocating 110-degree silence. Right now, inside Mauro's body, his organs are realizing they've been abandoned, and they are about to make some terrifying choices just to keep him alive. By day 3, Mauro's water is gone. He's resorted to drinking his own urine to stay hydrated. He stumbles upon a deserted Islamic shrine in the middle of nowhere. He finds a few bats hanging from the ceiling, and out of pure survival instinct, he catches them, cuts off their heads, and drinks their blood for moisture. It sounds gruesome, but Mauro's brain didn't care about manners. It was in panic mode. See, under normal conditions, your brain is a big eater. It runs almost exclusively on glucose, sugar, which it extracts from the food you eat. But after 72 hours without food, Mauro's glucose reserves were completely empty. When the brain starves, it signals to the liver, "Hey, we're going down." And the liver responds with a process called ketosis. It starts aggressively tearing down the body's fat stores, converting them into molecules called ketones. Ketones are like an emergency backup fuel generator. They cross the blood-brain barrier, keeping Mauro's mind sharp enough to make decisions, navigate, and keep walking, even as his ribs begin to poke through his skin. But while the liver was saving his mind, the desert was trying to bowl it. By day 5, Mauro is profoundly dehydrated. He has lost over 20% of his body weight. At this point, most people would be dead. Desperate, hopeless, and wanting to spare his family the agony of never finding his body, Mauro uses a piece of charcoal to write a farewell note on the shrine wall. Then, he slits his wrists. He lays down to die, but the desert refuses to let him go. Because Mauro is so severely dehydrated, his blood has thickened into a sluggish, heavy sludge. It clots almost instantly. He wakes up the next morning, the wound sealed, the sun rising again. He takes it as a sign. He stands up and he keeps walking. What Mauro didn't realize is that his mind was now entering the twilight zone. When you are lost in the vast and changing landscape with no sound but your own footsteps, your brain experiences sensory deprivation. Your brain hates silence, it is an information junkie. When the eyes and ears stop sending it, the data, the neural networks in the visual cortex get bored and start firing at random. This is called the Gansfeld effect. Mauro began to see things, oases that weren't there, voices calling his name. His brain was literally manufacturing reality out of nothing, desperately trying to keep itself stimulated. To survive, Mauro had to play a psychological game of chess, constantly checking and asking himself, is what I'm seeing real or is my brain lying to me? On day 9, purely by following a trail of sheep droppings, Mauro stumbles upon a tiny oasis. A young Tuareg nomad girl sees him and runs away in terror. Because Mauro no longer looks like a human being. He looks like a walking skeleton wrapped in blackened, sunburned skin. She brings help. Military police wrap him in blankets, put him on a stretcher, and rush him to a hospital. When doctors examined him, they were stunned. His liver had kept his brain alive. His blood had thickened to save him from bleeding out, and his sheer psychological grit had filtered out the hallucinations. He had walked 180 miles off course, survived 9 days without water in the harshest environment on earth. We often think of our bodies as fragile. We worry about a cold, a bad night's sleep, or skipping a meal. But Mauro Prosperi proved that when everything is stripped away, human biology isn't just a collection of fragile organs. It is a highly evolved, deeply stubborn survival machine. And given the choice between letting go or rewriting its own chemistry to live, your body will always choose to fight every single time. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope you guys enjoyed the first episode of Medtales. Stay tuned for the next.